It's my vinyl update for September 2022. Ahoy hoy everybody, and welcome to my vinyl update for September 2022. Firstly, let me apologise if the sound isn't as good as normal. I had a Willow related disaster in my room a couple of days ago, and it appears she's knocked my microphone somewhere and I can't find it. Hopefully it'll turn up soon, but I'm relying on the iPhone microphone, and I'm not sure how good that is because I've not used it on this phone yet. So apologies for that. Okay, so as normal with my vinyl updates, there's a few bits I haven't shown and a load of stuff I have already, but I'm going to do it slightly different this time. So as normal, I'll show you the stuff I haven't already shown you first. Then there's a few bits that I've shown you that I'll quickly whiz through, but then all the stuff I bought in London, because when I showed those, they were in the big massive, bit of tautology there, London videos, which are obviously very long, so some of you may not have bothered watching because they're surrounded by other stuff as well. I'll go into those in a bit more depth than I would normally do in this type of video. But without any more ado, let's get cracking, because that was going to make this a long video. So I have shown, I picked up from Slice of Vinyl the indie exclusive blue vinyl version of Robbie Williams's 25 compilation. I mean, it's sort of a compilation. It's reworked versions of his greatest hits, or some of them anyway, with added orchestra. This is the black vinyl version, bought through his web store. As you can see, it is signed by Robbie. So, I have listened to the CD version of this. I also got the deluxe CD, and it is very good. I'm still not a fan of the new single Lost, but the rest of it is very good. And you know, some tracks benefit more than others for the added orchestration. No Regrets is magnificent, very Bondian. Speaking of which, pre-ordered this all last year, I think, and it's just come out. This is Bond 25. So this is the Bond 25 Bond theme songs. It is just for theme songs, isn't it? Yes. Performed by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. So this is an official product. It's not one of the many, you know, cheap cash-in versions, if you like, of orchestras playing the Bond themes. What I didn't realise until I received this and looked at the credits is that this has been, as I say, it's the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and it is, I want to say arranged and conducted by, but I will just double check that, which is why I was hesitating. Partly arranged by, but certainly conducted by Andrew Skeet, who is the Divine Comedy's MD and arranger. Arranged all 113 songs for the recent gigs that I went to. And also featuring on this are Simon Little and Tim Weller, who are the bass player and the drummer with Divine Comedy. So yeah, that was a added bonus. Haven't listened to that yet. I picked up Suede's new album. I've got most of their, well, I think I've got all the early albums, but I haven't got any of the post-split, you know, Reformation albums. But I pre-ordered the new album partly because it came with a signed print. So it's Autofiction. It is very good, actually. I enjoyed it a fair bit. I listened to the CD of it. But this is the vinyl. So this was bought through their web store. So it comes with a signed print of a sort of little tour postery type thing. Only downside is that pen was obviously running out. Plain white inner, but this is the clear vinyl version. And so I pre-ordered this, and at the time it was just CD and vinyl with signed print. Sorry, interrupted by a phone call. Yeah, so I pre-ordered that, and it was just for the CD, the vinyl and the signed print. But then they announced that it could now be pre-ordered with a new EP, of 4 extra tracks. But they just automatically added that onto any existing orders, which I thought was very good of them. So it also came, no extra fee, with this 4-track EP, which I haven't listened to yet. But yeah, as I say, I thought that was very good to not make us, you know, pay extra for the EP or anything like that. This has got a little bit of a story about. So this came from Zavi, and it's a soundtrack to the Muppet movie. I mean, Rainbow Connection is just a fantastic song. That's the main reason I bought this. And, you know, Paul Williams' music is always great. So this is on Animal Red vinyl, but I was expecting something a bit more. You'll see, it's just a translucent red. But yeah, so I ordered this from Zavi. The release date was postponed, which, you know, we're used to now. And then on the 9th of September, I had a dispatch email, and then that it had been collected by DSL, and they'd let me know when it was going to be delivered. 2 weeks later, on the 23rd, I thought, you know, given DSL shouldn't be affected by the strikes, I thought, well, what's happened to that? Went on the tracking, and it said it still hadn't been collected by DSL. It was still awaiting collection. I thought, oh, bloody hell. That afternoon, it turned up. So, Zavi's usual excellent self. This is the new album by Altered Images. I mean, it's basically a Claire Grogan solo album, but she's used the Altered Images name. I think one of the guys from Altered Images is also involved, because I think she married him. But this is nothing like an Altered Images album. This is the red vinyl limited version. It also bought, or rather, I also bought the CD, which came signed, which I have listened to. Download code in this as well. Yeah, it's not an Altered Images album. It doesn't sound anything like Altered Images apart from Claire's voice. It sounds like it's trying to be a Kylie album, but not as good as a Kylie album, basically. I was very much disappointed in it. And finally, of the new stuff that I haven't already shown, this is a new album by Katie Melua and Simon Goff called Aerial Objects. So I'm a big fan of Katie's. So as soon as this came up for pre-order, I ordered it. Really pleased, because her last album I bought a signed CD of, and it was a really poor signature. It was pretty much just a K, but a much better signature on this one. Probably because she saw how Simon had signed it and thought she'd better up her game. But it comes with a nice booklet. Haven't listened, so can't comment on the music. Don't really know what to expect. I'm not aware of Simon Goff. I don't know what his style is. But I love Katie's voice, so whatever it is, I'll enjoy, I'm sure. And I think this is just black. Yeah, this is just black vinyl. yeah, so that's all the pre-orders that arrived this month. So yeah, everything else I have already shown. So first up, I will show what I picked up when I went shopping with Craig and Mandy Huntley and Millie, the dog. And I took them to Fareham, Heathen Chemistry and Gosport Slice of Vinyl. So I did a separate video just of that trip, which isn't massive. So I'm just going to literally just show you what I bought there. Because if you want to see it, those in any more depth, you can just watch that video. But from Heathen Chemistry, I picked up Sunflower by the Beach Boys. The Brothers Johnson, Right on Time. Nancy and Lee. And then from Slice of Vinyl, Smiley Smile by the Beach Boys. All Summer Long by the Beach Boys. The Beach Boys Today. Melanie's Madrugada, or however that's pronounced. And then, I say, I picked up my blue vinyl version of the Robbie album. It's translucent blue. She actually let me pick up a day, 2 days early. But shh, don't tell anyone. Okay, so the rest is all the stuff I picked up in my 5 days in London. So if you've watched those videos and you're not interested in seeing all this again, thank you. See you on another video. Bye. But if you haven't watched them and you want to see these, I'll quickly show them, but in a bit more depth than the other bits. So, these in particular order? No. So on day 5, I went to Shoreditch, and there was a number of record stalls in the market area of Shoreditch, and on one of those I picked up Graham Sexual Station's debut album. No, it's not a debut album, their second album, Ain't No Bout to Doubt It. Which is the original insert and is on Warner Brothers. And from the same stall, he had a lot of funk and soul and then bits of other stuff. Edit there because that took an age to put away. On the same stall, Ohio Players Skin Tight. On Mercury. And then on another stall, which looked exciting, but then I quickly worked out that 90% of their stock was bootleggy. Oh dear, that slipped. Bugger. Was bootleggy coloured vinyl pressings of albums that are either hard to get on vinyl or, well, you know, popular, like Beatles albums on coloured vinyl that have never been on coloured vinyl, things like that. But he did have, which I've just had slipped down in the bag, and had a day of all the records, so it's got a bit squashed. 7-inch of Hanging Around by Me, which is one of my favourite Britpop tunes. I'm hoping the record's, yeah, it's got a bit warped. Hopefully I can straighten that out. Bugger. Stephen Tintin Duffy, Alex James from Blur, and Justin Welch from Elastica. And it's, as I say, one of my favourite Britpop era songs. I'll put that at the bottom of the stack and hopefully that'll straighten itself out. I went to Flashback Records Shoreditch branch. They very kindly gave me a tote bag free of charge. And I picked up ETV Extraterrestrial. This is the songbook, I think they called it. can't remember exactly what it's called, but this comes with a poster and a booklet and an insert, which I won't get out, but I'll show you the vinyl. So this is Michael Jackson narrating the story of E.T., and it's got some of the music, but it's got an original song. But this was withdrawn soon after release because it was released on MCA, and which is not Michael Jackson's record company, he's with Epic, and they had an agreement that it wouldn't be released until after Thriller had been released, and the exclusive song on it wouldn't be released as a single, and they broke both those promises, so it had to be withdrawn from sale. So it's only had one release. So I thought that was a decent $14.99 for that was a decent price and interesting to have. A couple of Bond soundtracks, Live and Let Die. So these are from a 25th anniversary reissue campaign in 1987. What I didn't spot when I showed these on the London video, both of them have got that sticker on the back. So they're obviously promo copies of some sort. The other one is From Russia with Love. And then a 70s reissue of Small Faces, Ogden's Nut Gone Flake. As I mentioned in that video, if I find a decent priced round copy, I will double dip. But in the meantime, this will suffice, because it's not an album I've found in the last 3 years. And this was a 2016 reissue of the German version of Peter Gabriel's Security album, and by German version I mean it's sung entirely in German, Deutsches Album, half-speed mastered, etc, etc. 180 gram vinyl on Charisma. So that was a nice interesting one to have. There was a massive market stall that I nearly missed that had thousands of records. There's no way I could have gone through them all, but I managed to find a few things. This is a soundtrack to the film Scandal, which cost me a £5. It's one of my favourite films, full of great early 60s hits. And also, Nothing's Been Proved by Dusty Springfield, written by the Pet Shop Boys. The Kink Controversy. This is from the mono box set. It's obviously been split, and this has come out of that. £15, probably overpaid a bit, but it is in very good condition. And I needed it for the collection, so what the hell. And then I definitely overpaid on Give the People What They Want, which is also £15. But this is a original, not a reissue of any kind, I believe. From 1981. But then, a bit of a bargain. This was a new and sealed copy of Maceo Parker's Soul Food, Cooking with Maceo, which contains his cover of Prince's track Other Side of the Pillow. So yeah, this was a sealed copy, which I didn't even realise until I opened it, for £15 with download code, also on a nice orange vinyl. And then also on day 5 in Shoreditch, There's another market stall that I went round, and it was looking like I wasn't going to pick anything up. And then in the last 3 bins, there was about 20 bins, I found Garden in the City by Melanie with its scratch and sniff cover, which still works. On Buddha Records. And the Beach Boys, Keeping the Summer Alive. We have original inserts. That's on CBS. And yeah, the last couple of bins were all funk and soul. And that sort of stuff, and picked up a few Prince related items. So this is Day by Day by Naji, who was Prince's saxophonist for a couple of years. I'm anticipating that I'm not particularly going to enjoy this because I wasn't a big fan of him. He was a bit too Kenny G for me, but thought I'd pick it up. Morris Day, Daydreaming, not the best quality cover, had some water damage at some time, but this is the first Morris Day solo I've ever seen out and about. Morris Day, of course, lead singer of The Time. Oh, Warner Brothers. Stephanie Mills, Merciless, still in my shrink. And I got this because the first track is a cover of Prince's How Come You Don't Call Me Anymore. Terrible condition, but originally in there on Casablanca Records. And Brown Mark, just like that. Brown Mark was the bass player in The Revolution. When he went solo, he signed to Motown and released a few albums. No direct Prince involvement in that. Okay, on day 4, I had an unsuccessful trip to Camden, apart from having one of the best burgers I've ever eaten in my life at Wendy's. But I went from there to Islington to... No, ignore that. No, don't ignore that. I'll skip to the Flashback Records branch in Islington, and picked up 3 titles there. So, Nutbush City Limits by Ike and Tina Turner on United Artists. Little Stevie Wonder, The 12-Year-Old Genius, recorded live. Which is a later reissue, obviously on Motown. I'll get in. And a Beach Boys Light album. Original inner on Capitol. Yeah. CBS Capitol, same as the last Beach Boys one. Yeah, day 2, I went to Berwick Street, and I went to Reckless Records, and I picked up Graham Central Station's Release Yourself, which I've overpaid for really, but again, not one I see out and about ever on Warner Brothers. Definitely London prices. Rosie Gaines is Caring, is that right? Yeah, Caring. So Rosie Gaines played keyboards and sang with Prince. in the early 90s. She duetted on Diamonds and Pearls, the song, and Prince's version of Nothing Compares to You, amongst other tracks. This is on Epic. This is pre her involvement with Prince. She also had a big hit over here with a dance track called Closer Than Close after she left Prince's band. The Goodies sing songs from the Goodies. From Decca. Cat Stevens' New Masters. From Durham. John Martin's Sunday's Child. Original Inner. On Island. And another one I definitely overpaid on. The Kinks' present Schoolboys in Disgrace. Oh, not the Kinks' present, the Kinks present, but this is a US pressing. On RCA. And then hopped over the road to Sister Ray. Where I picked up, just two in there, a used copy of Joni Mitchell's debut album, Song to a Seagull. Oh, it is technically, I believe, just Joni Mitchell. But Song to a Seagull is the hidden name. On Reprise. And then a new sealed reissue of Elastica's debut. Includes flexi disc and 12-page book. There's the vinyl. There's the flexi disc. And the 12-page fanzine book. And then finally I actually received an ECLT while I was in London. I had an email from Stuart, who is a regular viewer and who has sent me, in the past, he sent me the Mo-Fi version of Carole King's Tapestry. She had a surplus copy of, I won't go into, but basically he messaged me to say he had another surplus record. He'd accidentally been sent 2 copies of Muse's new album, and he'd been told just to keep the second one. So he passed it on to me at one of the Divine Comedy gigs that he was going to, which is very kind of him. And as you can see, this is the Zoetrope picture disc version, which I will attempt to film and insert an image of here. But yeah, very kind. Thank you once again. And that's it. That is my vinyl update for September 2022. Who knows what October will bring. There'll obviously be some pre-sales due in, I'm sure. But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.